Alright, ladies and gentlemen and everybody else, we are starting with the review of game number 3. I'll try to make this quick because the last one I was completely distracted and all over the place. It becomes harder to focus on what's going on in front of you when you know the game is lost. Well, nevertheless, let's take a look at this draft. First pick, GP. Other games, GP has been banned. First pick, GP. Alright. Not terrible, but on blue side, it's alright, right? In most cases, you're going to put yourself in a worse matchup anyway, right? This gave Rogue the opportunity to snap up Ashe first. In previous games, they first pick Ashe here on first pick blue, or usually it's been Ashe, and then they go Azir. Two champions that, you know, Azir is a good pick into GP. High attack speed, can kill GP barrels quite easily, has a dash. It's a decent champion into GP, and also as a blind pick, it serves a good purpose, especially when Akali is banned. Akali is banned, and also Lucian is out, so they are very, very happy. Here, Mad Lions are exposing that they are not on the same page as the other teams when it comes to this current meta, because banning these implies that you know, you are not ready for what's happening in front of you. But that's okay. You know, you could argue that these are better to ban on blue side because both Evelynn and Hecarim require lanes that push in order for you to, you know, effectively be able to reach that point where you're level 6 without bleeding too much on your beautiful white carpet, you know? So Lucian out, Evelynn out, Hecarim out, and then Lilia out as well. Caitlyn, standard red side ban, even though I think Ashe can do fine into it if you gain something more significant in draft, but considering everything is banned, it is okay to ban Caitlyn and remove Caitlyn because there is no significant trade that you're going to get out of this, right? So we have Ashe and Azir. Very, very happy to get this on red side. The enemy replies with Senna. So the problem with Senna and GP is that you have two champions that want to act in the game the same way. They have two champions that want to act in the same way. Why picking Azir before Tam? Because Tam would be a blind pick. And Akali is already out, so Azir prio is through the roof. Very, very high Azir prio. Like, Akali is out. Azir is going to have a good matchup most of the time. Like, you can maybe go Sylas mid or something like this, but you are quite happy here. You're quite happy here. This is a very, very strong rotation that is blind. You leave your 5 pick for top. You pick support on 3 with 2 bans. You're very, very happy. This is a great rotation. What ADC can Mad pick instead of Senna? So here, I think Jhin would match better. Jhin would match better. Jhin would match better. Jhin has better synergy with GP, and that's the main thing. But it's already hard. It's already hard because the enemy, on paper, should have prior bot.
Jacob?
Yeah?
I made food. Do you have time to eat?
I will get to it soon. Thank you. So this is tricky. Very tricky. What about things like Cogmid? So Cogmid is not a hard counter against Azir. That's the thing. Azir wins lane against Kog'Maw pretty easily. According to Wiki, the only effect that stops you from smiting is suppression. Might be. It might be changed, because I'm not sure. I'm not completely sure about the silence part. Not completely sure. If the Wiki says so, I believe it. Murcielago. So now, the reason I say Senna and GP function the same way is because of the nature of their ultimates and the nature of how their lane works. They are very, very durable. They are very, very good to sustain pressure. Sure, you could potentially play through the Senna Nautilus lane, but the benefit of that is very, very small. Senna is not a champion that snowballs as effectively. Her buying more items, Senna buying more items, is not so exciting. Her strength within the game is always constant, right? That's why Senna weak side is so good, right? That's why GP weak side is so good, because the relevant strength in the game is always almost similar, and the way their ultimate works is that they can support all of the portions of the map. So here, already, what are you playing for, right? You need to have a fantastic mid lane that sets you up for this, or can use this. But the problem is the enemy has Azir already and Akali is out. So there is very little for you to gain here. Very little for you to gain here, because there's not like this ideal mid pick that is going to match this perfect. Maybe you can go Echo or something, but it's not perfect. It's not ideal anymore because the enemy has Azir. The enemy goes third pick Tam. Okay, third pick Tam against Nautilus. Oh, no problem. They get to ban mid laners, they remove Kog'Maw for safety reasons, and then Orianna, because it's humanoid. Yeah, it's humanoid. The enemy picks Twisted Fate. So what is the problem here? What is the problem here? Twisted Fate functions exactly like Senna and Gangplank. Isn't that good? Doesn't it bring synergy when two champs want to do similar things? Think of it like this, you know? If you think of fashion, right? If you think of fashion, there are colors that match. If someone wears a blue shirt, blue pants, blue shoes, that's like, sure, it matches, but does it look good? You know? Sometimes it fits, but sometimes, if you think of fashion, you think of, oh, someone's wearing a gray shirt, light blue pants. These are colors that match. These are winter-esque colors, right? They work together. Same way in the context of these champions, right? When you have Gangplank, Senna, even though they do the same thing, but it's like, imagine you have a football team of only defenders. Doesn't work. You need to have, a mixture, Gangplank supplies, for example, if you have Gangplank, Kalista Nautilus is fantastic, right? Kalista Nautilus is fantastic because you are in a position where Gangplank is going to take the weak side role, and then you have a strong side of the map, and then you can create that pressure. And now, just to look at some of your suggestions, Corki would have been good. No, because you have 5 champions that can't fucking do jack shit in the early game. You get run over. You'll get 4 Draked, and you will not be able to accomplish anything. You'll lose Herald, you'll lose Drake, you'll lose the entire map. Corki doesn't win against Azir. Azir has Prior. That's why everyone's picking fucking Azir. And Corki has disappeared. Because it's very, very hard to justify giving up all that pressure. And then the second thing, no lane to play through, so neither wants to invade all the time. Well, how can she invade if her lanes are comfortable being under the turret? Now, of course, this situation is a little bit different because Sion gets picked. So the situation is a little bit different. But they could have picked something that counters GP harder. So in this case, GP can actually win lane against Sion, and he has some potential to cause some damage. So nearly GP have some sense in the draft phase. They have some sense in the draft phase to, potentially pressure the Sion. So the Sion last pick does change the dynamic of this draft. But they're just keeping it safe. They're just putting Finn on a tank. It is very, very simple to play it through. Right? The continuation is, they're picking TF and Nidalee. They just want something with hard CC, pick it with Nidalee. They want to pick Nidalee into Graves. Okay. Right? But the thing is, where do you transfer all this pressure? Like, where does it go? Like sure, you can maybe snowball the GP, but it's not going to be impactful enough for the GP to like carry the game. To say that GP outranges Ashe and Azir is untrue. Like the Gangplank ult is powerful and that is great and all. But you have a Tahm Kench that eats and Azir can get out, and even though Gangplank ult is very, very powerful, it is not big enough to say, he outranges Azir and Ashe. With Ashe may be arguable, but with Tahm Kench I think it's okay. When it comes to battles, doing some crazy battles is difficult. It's difficult. Lucian would be good top format. If I see Oroma play Lucian, I might have to take a spoon and pull out my eyeballs. But okay. Just because Sion is locked in, there is some potential for GP to potentially snowball. But at some point, Senna outranges both Ashe and Azir, and GP prevents any engage with ult in battles. Well, that's not true. It doesn't... To say that GP creates some fucking barrier that makes enemy team not be able to engage is untrue. And the nature of how early game is going to go is also very, very important. The nature of early game shapes the game. It shapes the game. And if your early game is too weak, it means that you're going to be in trouble. But let's look at this in the most positive light as possible, okay? You have a 2v2 bottom that maybe can set up something with Nidalee, right? And then maybe some TF cards into some Nidalee spears early on, because them being double AP is less relevant because no one has magic resistance early. So there is some potential. Like it's not completely doomed, right? But just the idea of putting Senna and GP on the same team irks me wrong because Senna is already laning into Ashe. The enemy is picking counter pick support and the counter to GP on 5. So this is going to be, difficult to maneuver around, I think. So in my opinion, Ashe Tahm should have prio against Senna Nautilus, is my opinion. Azir has prio against Twisted Fate. Graves can contest Nidalee. Graves Nidalee is 50-50 matchup in my opinion. And then GP against Sion. GP being even, he's very happy with this. But I don't think it's big enough to, to blow this game up. They don't have that one champion that if we funnel all our time into this one champion, he's going to really, really take over the game. There's nothing like it. That's why, you see TF, you see Nidalee, you see Senna. If you have like a... lots of pro players say Nidalee counter Graves. The thing is, I wouldn't say it's a counter, but it's much harder to play Graves than Nidalee. If you make one mistake as Graves, you lose the game against Nidalee. In most cases, if the drafts are even. But if you don't make that mistake, you can compete. Nidalee is allowed to make many mistakes because of how OP the AP jungle item is. That's the thing. Camille would have been great instead of Sion. That's very untrue. You don't want to pick Camille into Twisted Fate, into GP. You're going to have a very, very bad time, especially with Graves jungle. Here I would just fucking pick Ornn. Just pick Ornn as always, and then play 2v2 mid and control the whole map. Play into bot side, be first on objectives, and I think you will win the game very freely. Why is meta centered around jungle carry when you need to farm so much? No time for fighting, no? Yeah, Ornn is pretty busted. Ornn is pretty OP. Jungle camps are very valuable. It's guaranteed value, and the thing is, it's kind of like an almost a snowball effect that is in the game. If you clear all your camps, the next camps are going to be better. So if you don't clear them, you lose a lot of time. And then the stronger you are, the faster you clear jungle camps. So it's like you not clearing jungle camps really slows you down. Unless you get like, the thing is, if you play the aggressive jungler, you need to be strong enough in order for you to compensate for your weak jungle clear. You need to compensate by taking the enemy jungle. Because let's say I take the enemy Raptors, it's the same as if the disparity between both players is that I gain 4 CS and the enemy loses 4 CS. So it's, let's say there's an 8 CS gap, right? You take the enemy Raptors is much more valuable than you taking your own Raptors. So when you have the jungler that is that wants to impact early game more, you need to, of course, impact your lanes in a way that you can use them to invade the enemy jungle camps. And right now that's tricky. R5 Nico looks great. It might be tricky. I think they're picking Sion just for the safety of surviving against TF and Nidalee and GP. Keep in mind, when you're drafting, you don't need to win all sides of the map. Most of the time, that is an unrealistic thing to do. Here, sure, let's say Lucian is open, they pick Lucian into GP, sure, maybe they could win the GP lane, but right now their game plan is very straightforward. Mid 2v2 into bottom side, contest Drake, and then make sure that they have Prio into bot to play for Rift Herald. Right? I can easily see this in the idea of what Rogue is drafting. They're picking something on 5 that is just going to be surviving and is going to scale into the game good enough, and he's going to be tricky to kill because the enemy has Senna. The enemy has Senna, so it's very tricky to kill a Sion. Twisted Fate as a mid laner also doesn't do a lot of damage to tanks. So they're just picking Sion because he's going to play weak side. And as I'm explaining this is why I think the blue side draft is so tricky to pull off. Because you just have a bunch of champions that prefer, in ideal conditions, to play a weak side role, and then they want to snowball into each other. But okay, let's head into the game. Let's take a look at why Europeans don't play in Italy.
You coming?
No. I'll be out soon. After I finish this game.
Well, do you want your food on PC then?
What kind of food is it? Is it hot food?
Yeah. Look.
Oh. Why do you think we are not seeing picks like Jackson, Fiora and pro games? They seem pretty good in current meta. So what goes through your mind when you say that? I am genuinely curious. What makes them good in the current meta? I genuinely want to know. Play for map pressure. But what does it mean, play for map pressure? What does that mean? Force them into side lanes. So they are in the side lanes. What happens now? I am Ornn and you put me in a side lane and I have TP. What's going to happen? Guys, don't be rude. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. Split. So keep pushing. So you keep pushing, and Ornn is just farming these creeps under the turret. You're not going to be able to pressure the turret enough to justify picking it, especially in such a short amount of time. The time where Fiora and Jax is a counter pick to Camille, yeah. So that's cool. Jax is a counter pick to Camille. Yeah, it's a good pick into Camille and Twisted Fate. Okay, Jax is good into Mordekaiser. Now that's a good reason, right? It's good into the meta champions, but you can't ignore Ornn. You need to reach 3 items to ignore Ornn. Ignoring Ornn is not a thing. Unless you have like 3 items on Fiora and you begin to like just hit the tower in front of him. And to reach that point, you're sacrificing way too much. Fiora is like a Kassadin, you know? Fiora is like a Kassadin. She has, you know, Kassadin does good into some matchups because his kit is good into some specific things, but it takes too long time. Too long time. Could Rogue have picked up Kayle? They could have, but Kayle is a liability. They want a 5-pick. It gives time for Fiora and Jax to scale. Well, you're just creating a liability for yourself. There are champions that can do that better. There are champions that can do that much better. Kayle into Gangplank in this game just creates a liability. Because right now, the game plan is pretty set for Rogue. They want to have one weak side, they want to have one strong side. They are choosing to do that into bottom side. If Sion gets pressured, he doesn't mind. If Kayle gets pressured, that's a very big problem. If Kayle is 50 CS behind, she's out of the game for the rest of the game unless something goes very, very wrong. Unless something goes very, very wrong. Vlad weak side and he goes, yeah, it's okay. That's okay. Yeah, Vladimir, Kayle, they kind of fit in the same bracket, right? But it's much easier to pressure a Kayle than it is to pressure a Sion. There's a reason why ganking something like a Sion, diving something like Sion feels pretty bad. Because inherently there's something in your mind that says, wow, this feels like a waste of time, right? And in some cases it is good. In some cases it is good. But in this case, snowballing the Gangplank in most games is not going to be the difference maker. Because why are we picking Gangplank? Why are we picking Gangplank? We pick Gangplank because his ultimate is fucking OP, right? And his barrels scale well. But in the context of the barrels in this game, using the barrels to create some crazy setup where you're going to get some massive barrel to win the game is very difficult against the champions like Graves that has auto attack resets, Azir that has a lot of attack speed, Ashe that has a lot of attack speed. Right? GP's ult is always the same. Always the same. GP's ult's power level is always the same unless you get Leandris, of course. Right? So GP's ult is very, very powerful. That's why GP is such a perfect, perfect pick. Would Shen not have been better picked than Sion? Because the thing is, Sion can't like Shen is just countered by GP. Sion's trading pattern is better against Gangplank than Shen is, because Shen needs to taunt, hit, and oranges, and then he's out, and then Shen is committed. Sion is just better wave clear, can defend his turret, more durable. Sion is just more durable than Shen when it comes to this. Shen would be fine, but it's not good. Sion also scales better. So once again, to come back to your point, Wrathborn, about 2020. The game speed right now is too fast for Fiora and Jax to be relevant. When they decrease the time between Drake spawning by 1 minute, that's a big deal. 2 Rift Heralds, that's a big deal. The fights that are happening are too constant. And when you're in a position where you have 3 Drakes down, one simple mistake that happens at even the highest level of play puts you in a position where you lose the game is very, very tricky. There are a lot of variables in the game. GP is probably the biggest counter into Shen. Would Jace R5 be good here? Well, once again, I will say this for the last time. You don't want to create any liability, because right now Rogue is going to play 2v2 mid into bottom side, and then they're going to control this side of the map, and Nidalee's only option is to go top side. And if Jace is chilling there, sure, he's going to win against GP, but he's not going to be able to pressure, because the choice of how Rogue wants to play out the early game has been made. So if Sion goes 20 CS down, right? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If Jace is 20 CS down, not that great. Right? Jace is a champion that thrives in a position where he is strong side. Because in order for Jace to win against GP, he needs to constantly pressure. Being in a position where you constantly pressure, very difficult against TF Nidalee. While 1v1 he's going to win, Rogue's decision here is to make sure that they want to, why not Ornn? They could have picked Ornn. They picked Sion because I think Sion just can't fucking die against this team. Thing is, Vitality 2018, what we were doing, we were picking 3 winning lanes, and the style we had was, as a jungler, we were invading enemy jungle. So what I was saying to my junglers, and why a lot of the junglers that I was working with kind of burn out, because I was pressuring them to play perfect. I said, your job is to fight the enemy jungle. You have 3 lanes that are winning. They're going to push like motherfuckers. You have to find the enemy jungle and fight. That is why I'm picking you this champion. You win 1v1. That is the isolation that is the situation I put you in. If you make one mistake, disaster. If you play perfect, we win in 20 minutes. And this was Vitality. This was Vitality. And I'm the type of person that I want to fucking play perfect. I want to reach for perfection. Sometimes you can't, and this was one of the mistakes I did in 2019. That we came back from the break and I wanted to play here, but we couldn't even play here. And I was trying to push for here, but we couldn't. Okay. Three winning lanes with prior all lanes, good event jungle seems good on paper. It is good on paper, but it's very difficult to play. Very difficult to play. So back to the comments about, I understand why pro junglers would say that Nidalee is a counter to Graves, because it's, wait. It's pushing for perfection more of a Korean mindset than a Western mindset. It's a Yamato mindset. What the fuck is he doing here? What is this? Wow. Nice flash. Good flash. I think Shadow could die here, no? Inspired missed on auto. Inspired missed one auto. Yeah, Orome was terrible this series. Very, very bad. Played fine, regular split. Impressed me in regular split. I think Larsen, they expected the Shadow was out of HP, but he could do the crab to get full HP, so this is a mistake. This is a mistake. Humanoid burns flash, but not good, not good. After Inspired had to recover and back off, this is what you have to deal with as a mid laner. You have to just fucking let it go. You have to just let it go. TF trying to carry, Fen taking tower shot. Yeah, Fen should be dead here. Fen should be dead here. Not bad. Like, yeah, Humanoid, I mean, Mad Lions had some very weird drafts. Because their play was not as bad as people wanted to make it out to be. I think In game 2, they had options, but I think this draft is just so hard to execute. So Sion is dead now, but at what price? Drake doesn't get taken, so it's okay. It's completely okay. Mad Lion securing the Drake is a positive, for sure. And TF being 2 kills gives them... Oh. Okay. This is... As Nidalee, you never want to sacrifice tempo to ever do jungle. I mean, ever do objectives. It's very important that you always play for your tempo, because now Inspired is level 6 to Shadows 4. And we spoke about in Champion Select how if you are in a position where you take enemy jungle camps, you are denying the enemy so much more. And taking the Drake here was just a mistake that I didn't realize when I was viewing it. Because now when we look back, we have, of course, the opportunity to be Captain Hindsight. Here I was saying, oh wow, they're getting Drake, which is nice. But in reality, his topside camps are open, and him dying here, and Rogue, like Inspired, just being on topside is just, you know, this is the Drake that they see. They see everything, right? And now Inspired is level 6 to level 4. And Nidalee is gonna run up here, try to do jungle camps, and I can only imagine that she dies. I didn't actually see this game. Yeah, he's fucking dead. Like, this just, game is over. Now game is over. I mentioned before that if Graves makes one mistake and he's behind against Nidalee, there's no way to recover, and Nidalee can make a couple of mistakes. Well, Nidalee has made enough mistakes to, you know, just be over. The nice thing about tanks and Graves too is that as a champion, Graves synergizes very well with tanks because they just line up CC for him, right? So whenever Graves is in a position where he has things to play with on both sides of the map, that makes him super happy because he can make decisions like this, where he can go into enemy topside jungle, and Sion can easily give up CS to just follow along and be strong regardless of the state of the lane, because his spells are just so inherently powerful in all-in situations. It was a good trading for Mad Lions. We like it, we appreciate it, but you press tab, you look at Nidalee level 4 against Graves level 7, UFF. Inspired, just take the fucking blue, bro. You deserve it. Shadow should be farming jungle here, but he's looking to invade to equalize and look to pressure into bottom side. Graves is on this side already, and he's gonna, you know, eat level 6, and now, you know, Shadow... Ooh, Inspired. We don't like this. If this shell hit him in the forehead, it would have been perfect. It's funny how Inspired's pathing led him directly into this position, which is good for him, but Shadow gets nothing here. Even though it's good for Mad Lions' bot lane, Senna and Nautilus get some platings, Nidalee gets nothing. You always have to pay attention to every decision. How much is Nidalee gaining from it? How much is Nidalee gaining from it? She is still in a shit position. No gain, even though they won the situation there. And Inspire is very happy. He's clearing full, and he's continuing. Azir also got to base here for free with the TF into bottom. So I think net positive here for Rogue. Net positive. Because I think Azir was in trouble here. Azir was in trouble. He had no base. And I think Humanoid could have, you know, maybe with a stronger jungle pressured them out. Now we have level 7. Sion is in base. Wanda is in position. Here, a lot of teams want to start Herald, but in reality, I think Rogue needs to be invading the enemy blue buff. If they invade enemy blue buff here to get the Tom Graves, they will put Shadow completely in the grave. Just fucking close the lid on that coffin. But they are looking for, are they starting Herald? I want to see the invade. I want to see the invade. Okay, we get the invade. Here's the coffin. Someone called for a coffin. Very good. Very good eye by Inspired. My goodness, the reason I am so passionate about this is because I was working so hard together with Onflick to make this stick. Didn't take large Raptor, didn't have time. He just queued. He just queued and walked. It's okay. He didn't counter jungle himself. You talk about Vander Vision, but he has no warding item. He has no wards. There are no wards. Here, it's beautiful. Just go together. You don't need vision. You clearing the camps and pushing Nidalee out, that is vision enough, because you know Nidalee has to go bottom side. That is vision. That information is vision. Also now, Mad Lions not matching is also a mistake, because with Senna and Nautilus not matching, you hitting the turret is kind of sad. And now Finn can 1v2 because Senna doesn't give a fuck about no potato. So here Finn, even if he dies here, doesn't matter. He's gonna clear the wave. The tempo is gonna be terrible. Graves has Herald, he can put it on mid. TF is nowhere to be found. Like they are committing 4 man to go for this Scion. 4 man to go for the Scion. Graves is gonna use Herald on mid. Ashe and Tom are gonna pressure top because Ashe and Tom can 2-man dive GP. They can 2-man dive GP. GP can definitely win some time. He can maybe, ult and win some time. But here's Scion dying, no problem. Fucking punch the minions, eat them. Worth it every fucking time. Enemy commit 4 into bottom. And now they get a full mid tower. And then the enemy also, GP, completely gave up top side. Ashe is hitting the tower. Disaster. I've heard inspired shot calls this entire fucking rogue lineup. On pretty good authority. If you are Shadow in this game, you hope Graves fucks up. I think Inspired is smarter than Shadow. I would love to work with a jungler like Inspired. But how broken is Rogue Coach? I don't know. Like I think everyone has been very unexcited about Rogue for a very long time for a good reason. And I don't know how much of that development we should credit to the coaching staff. We don't know from outside. We don't know. Finn is enjoying himself, I guess. Okay. As much as people wanted to complain about Rogue's playstyle or whatever, I think there is, they took their time with making the right decisions and, setting up the right plays. They took their time, but there's nothing wrong with that because during that time they managed to also defend from any options of the enemy, and that's a very, very good thing. That's a tough thing to learn. It's a very tough thing to learn. What are you talking about, Takeda 881? What the fuck? Conflict is great. What are you smoking? You're making a lot of assumptions there. TB bot was beautiful. No black cleaver. Edge of the Night inspired. Very nice. Tarzan is going to be in a team 100% next year. Confirmed on Yamato stream. Anyone would make that prediction anyway. Like Tarzan is one of the best junglers in the world. Yes, Edge of the Night blocks TF ult. The vision of it. Okay, I don't know what's happening here, but okay. I'm Sion, herder. I think Mad Lions, any type of experience, they're going to benefit from it. Plains is really, really OP for teams that have never gone to Worlds. Larson, knowing his trading side, beautiful. Backing off. Trading side, not a big problem. Gangplank ult is not on, so trading side is very nice. Von Italy is happy to also trade side. We have to pay attention to what jungle was open, but it was equal. What is your prediction for the weekend? I think G2 win Rogue and then G2 win final. What do you think about Kaiser? I think Kaiser probably was the best performing support in summer in Europe. A very, very high potential Kaiser. Smart player. Very smart player. I think G2 beats Fnatic, yes. Yeah, Fnatic can definitely win against G2. It happened. It can definitely happen. But I think G2 is favored. I don't like the narrative that G2 had the series in the bag and then threw it, because Fnatic threw just as much in a lot of the games, in the games that they lost. Jack Glot, Vander is kind of old, right? They need a young super to replace him and build a legacy. Well, this is a narrative that is just something that, it's like when you have those old dads that are watching soccer and they're following these talk shows about football and they're just looking at the games and it's like, this PSG team, they are not, they don't have enough focus on young talent, and it's just so meaningless. It doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, I'm Italian. It's my culture football. Like, Stronzi, Milano, Berlusconi. Like some fucking sofa potato knows more than Milano. You know, whatever. You get my point. You know, it's like sometimes there are phrases that are empty. You know, there is a lot of young supports that are going to be much worse than Wanda, right? Much worse. Kaiser is good. You know, Kaiser is fantastic. But now Kaiser could be viewed as an upgrade for any player. Could be. I say could be. Hylissang and Mickey have something that the other supports, well, Vander too, have something that the others don't. They have that experience of playing against the best of the best. And before you line those people up against those, you'll never know. My point is, younger doesn't mean better in the context of esports. There are players that have had great careers. For example, Reckless, when it comes to playing, has been around for a long fucking time. Would you say because he has played a very long time that you want to replace him with some young blood? Not necessarily. It's all about skill in the end. It's all about skill, you know? It's all about skill. The thing is, the only thing that comes with age, the only question that comes into it is, what did they do in their esports years, right? So Reckless, when he was a young player, what shaped him as a player was his discipline and his idea of winning, right? There are some players that are shaped the first years in pro play, and they're never gonna become, the odds of them becoming better and snapping out of it because of how they developed is what matters more. Age is just a fucking number. The key thing about younger players is that they have an easier time developing the right fucking mindset. The older you are, the harder it is to shape that mindset. But there are older people that have that mindset, right? Esports is not so physical, right? It's not so physical. But depending on how you've developed as a person, that matters. And sometimes that is so much harder to define, right? It's harder to define in players. You know, when you rate a player, it's hard to define that. It's also younger players. Younger players, a big strength is that they know less about life. The older you become, the more you realize that there are other things that are important in life. And sometimes that's tricky for some to deal with. Sometimes it's very hard for people to deal with. When I was 17 and I'm playing in the fucking LCS. When I was playing in the LCS, nothing fucking else existed for me. Nothing else. Now I have a girlfriend of 4 years. I have 2 cats, you know. I begin to think about the future, about children, about these things. And some players can't handle that. You know, some players can't handle that. But in my heart, I'm more fucking motivated than ever, you know. My dream is to be as fucking successful as possible, retire, and never fucking work a day in my life again. Never fucking work a day in my life again because I want to be a full-time father. But there are people, as you're saying, Kadamida, there are people that are in their 30s that think like 12-year-olds. There are people that are 12 that think like 40-year-olds. Like sometimes people say, oh, you're not 24, you're like a 50-year-old. Yeah. I think like a very, very old person. In my heart, I feel much older than I am. You know? I feel much older than I am. In my heart. But with this dream in sight, it's motivating me more than ever. But some people are wired differently. And that's the only way the age comes into question. I don't think just because someone's old or older than a younger player, you should assume, oh, he's going to be worse. You know? But I understand where it comes from. I understand completely where it comes from. Because the odds are stacked against them, you know? But the only reason I am having this discussion is because I think that nuance is important. I don't think a number was just boom. The number is just, you know? There's nuance. Yeah, Rookie, like how old is Rookie now? Rookie. $23. The man is fucking young, man. 23. But Reckless is also fucking 23, man. It's 23. Almost birthday Reckless. Woo! What are some other players that have been around? Nuktak. Nuktak is the same age as me. It's all about like what were your shaping years? When I was 10 and 12 or whatever, right? Like I was playing with tournaments in Nuktak 8 years ago. 8 years ago we played tournaments together. I was 16, he was 16. We were playing, and these were our shaping years, right? Jankos. What's the age of Jankos? 26? It's 25. It's 25. But the man has fucking played for fucking ever, man. 2013, and I'm sure even before this. KMT, Kiedyś miałem Team Rocket. These fucking years, the man was fucking good. He was fucking good. He was fucking good. Vander too, you know? When you've been good in those years, all these years, you've been fucking relevant. It fucking matters. Score as well. Score was an AD carry first, and then he became a jungler, right? Where's his fucking team history? It's only fucking KT and Startail. It's fucking good, fucking good, fucking good. Who cares about fucking age? It's all about the development. The development. You know, Jizuke. For example, Jizuke, right? Jizuke had his debut in the LEC 2017. 2018. 2018 was the debut in LEC. The man was 22. Is he too old? No, he was a rookie. He was a rookie. He was a rookie 2018. And he behaved like a rookie and acted like a rookie. We could shape him. Because he didn't have fucking 3 years of shit. You know? He didn't have 3 years of shit. He didn't have 3 years of being in LEC, being in some washed up team that kind of shaped him. No. He came in, 22 years old, didn't matter if he was 17 or 22. He came in and we could nurture it. It's fucking surprising how young Cabochard is actually. Cabochard is 23. How crazy is that? And his defining years was, you know, together with Gambit, right? He played with Gambit, he played with Diamond Prox, and he developed an instinct on how to win games. Cabochard understands how to win games through his lane really, really fucking well. Man, it's 23. 23. Isn't Vander the most underrated player in EU history? It's very underrated. Very underrated. And what? Cabochard is too old? Cabochard is too old? No. It's not about age. It's like saying, oh, would I take Cabochard or some 17-year-old? Only if that 17-year-old has shown something amazing. Like, for example, Closer. Like, they're not picking up Closer because he's 17. They're picking up because he's showing a quality, right? He's showing a fucking quality. And he hasn't been in any competitive team, so they can shape it. If we found closer and he was 22 and he wasn't playing in a team before and he was just as good. Fucking get in there, you know? Get in there, play. Perks is fucking 21! He's 21! What? Jesus. Fake is also very young. 24. Very young. Anyway, Rogue and Mad Lions. Rogue and Mad Lions. Let's reconnect with this game. So Azir is in very, very good condition. Azir is in very, very good condition. The problem is still Nidalee. Nidalee is so weak. I think the problem also, just the biggest issue here is Rogue will have mid-prio and ganking Sion is not a thing. That's the issue. Just mid-prio wise, Rogue should be better and it will be difficult for them to force fights unless Kaiser gets shit done like this. This was nice. Nice from Kaiser. They need to find ways to engage on mid. That's how they break this. Because ganking side, when Sion is the one rummaging around there, is very difficult. Rogue is going to get prio, hover into Azir side and always be fine. Another way is for them to just play 3-1-1 and just attack through lane and hope that that timing window is big enough before Tam and Ashe crashes. But it's very difficult to do when they have Ashe Eagle, the E. How do I know who is winning lane? If you can choose to push when the wave is even, usually you're winning lane. If the wave is in the middle and you can choose to push, it means you're winning. Okay, Humanoid. So I'm not sure what Humanoid is doing here. What the fuck is he doing? Wow. Madman. Boom. Madman. These mistakes are bound to happen though because of the draft, I think. He's vibing in the mid, yeah. Madman. Dead man. Don't attack me. I'm gonna call my rope man. He should have went Swifties, yeah. People are compensating with CDR boots because of people are like, I'm gonna get CDR boots because I'm gonna get CDR boots to compensate for spellbook nerf and W nerf. But honestly, I don't even think Swifties is gonna save him. I think he needs. It's just hard to play TF here, very hard. The enemy outranges quite heavily, and as long as Tom is not frontlining, it should be okay. Because Tom is pretty much frontlining. Shadow missing that is kind of painful. Let's take a step back. Let's take a step back. Humanoid is dead. Okay. Nash is starting. I think they could have just committed together on Nash. I don't think they need to do these shenanigans. Just use the Herald and start Nash together. Sion could have already been here. They could have just done this play quicker. A bit greedy. Inspire lost a lot of health. Others should be okay. Very dangerous. Why they not eat? Why they are sharing the whole Nautilus ult here? The whole Nautilus ult is being shared here. The whole Nautilus ult is just getting eaten, and the TP position of Sion was also very poor. Because the fight was already lost. Like here, Senna gets too much damage off. Right? Could get the Nautilus ult. He should have just eaten. They have so many people are eating the ult. Imagine a world where Sion didn't give a shit about these minions on bottom, and they were already in position, and then Sion is already chilling here. Like he could have been here. You know, he's chilling here, cutting them, and then Azir can mark this very easily. And if they, for some reason, take this path, you have vision, and then Sion can come around, and then it's a good play. It's a good play. I don't think it's a bad play. Just execution here is very poor. They get spotted by the blue plants. They are taking top tower for absolutely no reason. Getting Baron obviously is the winning play. GP ult is good to catch up, but then the Nautilus ult hits too many people. Tom can eat it alone. If Tom eats it, then it's much better. Tom can eat Ashe, and then all good. Here Ashe is already low HP. Vander took... I don't know why Vander is walking forward. He can't be the one walking forward. He eats Graves. Is it correct to eat Graves? I think he's just afraid of the card. Afraid of the Nidalee spear. That's why he's eating. Which makes sense. Nidalee, Ashe also flashed. But here, at this point, this is not a winning fight. You need to back off. You've lost too much HP. At the same time, you backing off is not a big deal because the enemy can't pressure Nash. The worst thing that's going to happen to you is you're going to lose your mid tower. That's what you have to take. You know, so basically, I think Sion TP early and then don't hit mid top tower. Just use Herald and let it go, and then go position yourself better. Sion was excluded, and Nautilus and Senna just did too much in this fight. Oh man, what on earth, man? You get some breathing room, you know? It's like, imagine right now, well, Mad Lions, they're swimming underwater, right? They're swimming underwater, they're holding their breath. And then they find a little pocket of air. A little pocket of air, okay? A little pocket of air. And then they are swimming around this pocket of air together, and they're like, okay, let's take a breath here. And then Shadow's like, just fucking, and then he spits in it. And it's like, fuck, man, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? What the fuck? A pocket of air. Shadow's like, I've got to catch up. This is my moment. This is my moment. This is my moment to catch up. Oh, okay. Wow. This just looks so stupid for so many reasons. I don't know. Like, the problem now is that they can keep ganking Gangplank bottom, and how on earth is this team? How is this team gonna pressure Nash? Like, Rogue has so much Nash pressure. They can 2-man it, they can 2-man it here, they can 3-man it here. Like, they can do Nash in so many different combinations. And then Gangplank has to chill bottom alone because he's the one with TP, and then they could just gank him over and over. Because what now? TF, Senna, and Nola is going to do Nash? Not going to happen. Do you feel like only the map bot lane played well this series? I think Humanoid played okay too. He played okay. Like, this was okay. Gargoyle line where Chinese and Korean players team oftentimes better than Europeans. It's a very, very deep question. I don't have the energy to answer now. I'm gonna go too big of a tangent. What the fuck happened here? Here comes the artillery. Okay, Inspired's dead. Still, like, how can they do Nash? Like, they get a pick like this, and it's like, holy shit, the jungler is dead. We should be able to do Nash. We get a Cloud Drake. Our composition can't do Nash. We can't do Nash. How can teams counter this carry jungle meta? Play hard 2v2. And pick champions that snowball from 1 to 5. Oh, yeah. Do one thing good, Shadow gives the right back. Tough. Also, China has such a big fucking player base, it's really OP. Really OP. They have such a big player base, it's really busted. Really busted. And yeah, to say that Asian teams are always better than European teams is a bit untrue. The thing is, Caitlyn is considered so strong for two reasons. Oh, thank you very much, Ethan B1234 or 1324. The thing is, why Caitlyn is considered so strong is she opens up a completely different support pool. That is very nice. And on top of that, the reason people are just banning Kate is because you can't trade Caitlyn for anything fantastic. When Varus was OP, there was a lot of OP champions in the meta. Ibrahim! Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Thing is, there were a lot of things in the meta that you could trade. So you gave up Varus and then you gained something. You could gain the better jungler maybe. You gain Trundle. You gain something for it. But right now, there's nothing that really stands out as really OP. Because right now, there are champions that counter all champions almost. So there's no reason to trade Caitlyn for something. Like, sure, maybe you can use 3 bans to, set some champion up. But right now, it's too little. So it's just easy to ban Kate. You want to just remove good first picks. I think red side should ban Caitlyn, Ashe. And then that's it. What the fuck do you first pick on blue side? It's fucking awkward. I guess you pick Senna. Just ban Caitlyn, Senna, Ashe. Ban red side, Caitlyn, Senna, Ashe. Oh fuck, then they pick Kalista. Oh, blue side always fucking pick. They just fucking give Caitlyn. It's all the same. It's all the same. Enemy gets Kalista, you fucking pick Ezreal or some shit. I don't know. The fucking AD carry hierarchy is really like in steps. You think Yon is enable for Worlds? I know it's not going to be. Here comes Kaiser. Why is Vander sniffing ass? Vander is walking. Is Kalista bad into Senna? I think Senna can win. But I think Kalista also can win. But it's just, Senna loves to play against short range ADs. Why is Vander sniffing ass? Vander's sniffing ass. Vander's sniffing ass. Vander's sniffing ass. Why is he doing this with Tom, man? Why is he here? The minions are right there and he's just fucking... Holy shit. Okay, Vander, you flash and now you go out. They could have ended the game here if he didn't do this shit. And now Rogue don't give a fuck. They're like, fuck you, Vander. We're gonna continue. And now Kaiser finds a very sweet engage. Very nice. Kaiser really wants to win. Kaiser's really good. Yeah, I'm not so convinced by Rogue as other people for this 2 series. I think Shadow entered very hard. Inspired played very well to punish that. I think Inspired deserves that credit, and he did very well. I think Mad Lions had very tough drafts to execute. I think Rogue really figured out how they want to draft, and I think in game 2, I think Rogue were in a position to finish even cleaner, but their draft allowed them a lot of mistakes, which is okay. Sometimes you are in that mindset because you are allowed to make mistakes, that those mistakes happen. So it's hard to judge, but I don't think this Rogue is going to beat G2. I don't think so. I don't think this is enough for G2 to beat Rogue. Taxby Vows is okay. Just, I think Ataxby Varus really doesn't like the changes that have happened to Ginzu. How come Casio hasn't picked at all? Well, it's very tough to play Casio against like Ashe and fucking Jin and fucking Evelyn. I don't know why this fucking Tompkins is always front-lining. Like, what are you doing, Vander? Like, why is Vander always in the front line, man? What is he smoking? Varos never played Conqueror. Play Lethal Tempo always. Why is this game even close? Like, why is this game even close? Fucking Vander's sniffing ass. He's sniffing ass the whole game. He thinks he's Alistair. Well, Alistair would fucking die here too, brother. Alistair would die here too. You don't want to be directly in the line of fire for Alistair. Back in the game is a bit too much. Mad Lions are showing moments in this game where they are playing smarter. Honestly. They are showing a lot of moments in this game where they are playing smarter than Rogue. At this point, isn't it more useful than Graves? No. Graves is fucking strong, man. They just, you see, he just fucking one-shotted TF almost through exhaust. Okay, the exhaust came very late, but this Graves is fucking strong, man. Okay, humanoid, what the fuck? It worked, I guess, but you're wild, man. Finn is so fucking tanky, it's unkillable. It's not over yet. Yeah, this Vander Tompkins needs some fucking work, man. This Vander Tam is not that great. Look at that Warmog's armor popping off of him. Warmogs. Where's the Titanic Hydra, man? He was fucking one-shot, kids. Look at this Finn. Okay. Yeah, the luck has run out. The luck has run out for Rogue. Now the facts of the draft. Oh no, Shadow. He didn't have vision. But Gangplank would have given vision. Oh, look at that fucking Leandri, man. The blessing of Last Shadow. The blessing of Last Shadow. Oh no. You see that the battles are very, very tough to connect. Very tough to connect battles against Azir. Okay, to be fair, that was fucking bad. That was fucking bad. End my misery. Come on. End my misery. And Mad Lion's misery and my misery. Humanoid needs to take so many fucking risks to do anything here. Evander is not fucking awake with his eat. That's just fucking Nautilus ult and Gangplank ult with Leandri that is chunking everyone so fucking hard. Like, how are these fights even close? It's incredible. Oh, there we go, Larson. There we go. They look so fucking happy. Oh, what the fuck? Holy shit, the whole team wears glasses. Oh. They cut the camera to empty chairs. Alright, thank you so much. I will